Game week 16 is over and it was emotional damage. But we are here to look forward to game week 17. We're going to take a look at our transfer targets as well as what are the best fixtures from game week 17 to game week 20, and then look at the best teams and assets from those teams as well, so that we can make sure that we're making the right choices looking ahead and knowing that we can pick the right players looking ahead as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys. Now, I know some of y'all been struggling just like me, but let me tell you something, all right? Christmas is right here around the corner, and Fantasy Football Hub has got us with a 30-day free trial. Grab the link in the description below, and you guys can get this amazing deal, and it's 30% off. So you guys can use all of these amazing tools for your 30 days and see whether or not you really love them and if they can really help you out of your tough spot. Trust me, they definitely can. I'll be using a lot of the tools here so you guys can see what they actually give you so that you can get your money's worth. So let us get into it. Now, I think where we're gonna have to start, of course, is the sorry, let me just remove this for you guys. Where we're gonna start is the fixtures. Okay. Now, I do this like almost every 4 games, 5 games. I go like, okay, what are the best fixtures? So then we can start looking at those assets as well, because you know how it is. You make a move sometimes, most of the times you should be making a move, and that move is going to be with you for about 4 fixtures, 3 fixtures at least. So let's see at the fixture ticker and see who is top. At the moment, according to Fantasy Football Hub, we've got Arsenal. This is according to points to get between 17 and 20. We've got Arsenal top, Man City second, Chelsea third, Liverpool, and we got Fulham sixth. And then I feel like from Aston Villa going down for me is not necessarily worth it. I mean, there's people who got fixtures here and there, but for me, it's like, who's got the best raw fixtures, you know? And I feel like at the top there, from Fulham to Arsenal up there, are definitely teams that we should be looking at. And that's what I've done, is I put them down here for you guys, and this is going to be with us until game week 20. So for me, these are the best fixtures that we have in this run between game week 17 and game week 20. And for me, I feel like Fulham's fixtures even stretch. They go like to game like 22. I think they play Leicester and also play West Ham shortly after Ipswich, I believe. So right now, I feel like these are the teams we should be looking at, and the teams we should be targeting. Way down at the bottom, of course, you got your Leicester, you got your West Ham, you got your Ipswich, and Southampton. I wouldn't necessarily be targeting Manchester United as a team, play against. I mean, they've got their weaknesses here and there. I think one is definitely consistency, but they also can surprise you as well, like they did in this previous weekend as well. And in the teams in the middle of the table there, like the Spurs, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, not necessarily the best run of fixtures, but like I mentioned, they'll have a fixture in between there and here where it's a really good game. So for example, Newcastle's like right there in the middle, but they've got a great fixture this week against Ipswich, and then they play Aston Villa, and then they play Man United and Tottenham. So it doesn't look like the best of run, but I think, attacking wise, of course, if you got like a Isak, it's cool, it's good. If you got a Hall, then it's a bit shaky. So yeah, now that we know who's the best teams, which teams have got the best runs, let's start looking at their assets as well and start seeing, okay, cool, who are the people that can really go for within these teams as well. So in some cases, I've removed like the premiums, but in this case, I feel like there are times where I can talk about the premiums. For example, Bukayo Saka, he's blanked for a while now, I think 3 games in a row. So a lot of people are like considering, should we take him out or should we not take him out? My answer to that question is keep Saka, all right? Anytime a great player has great fixtures, keep him, guys, because look, I get it. He's a premium. You expect him to, get you returns week in and week out. No. But I think have faith. They got Crystal Palace, and then they got I They got Ipswich. Sorry, man, I can't see from here. Yeah. So they got two yeah, they got Ipswich. They got two great fixtures. I feel like you just have to keep him. You know, he's on set pieces. He's on penalties. Anything can happen. You know, I think once Arsenal finally find that, I don't know what's going on. I am an Arsenal fan. I was destroyed this past weekend. I watched my boys. I've been watching my boys. As an Arsenal fan, I have no idea what's going on. We just are not able to score from open. And the thing is, like, I know we can. We've seen this before where out of nowhere we come back in January and we can scoring 4 goals every single game. It's the same guys, man. And just with some better players. Some better players. So I don't know. Mikel needs to figure it out. I think he can, and I believe he will. You know, I must say that Crystal Palace though has been playing. They have been performing well as well. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be all that of an easy game, but it is Arsenal at the end of the day. We will get some goals, and I think Saka will be involved there. Kai Havertz for me necessarily isn't an option at all, as much as if you want a cheaper option. I mean, yeah, you can go for him, but right now in this time where it's like Arsenal are not necessarily scoring goals, I feel like their defense is the better assets there. So for me, I wouldn't even consider Odegaard. I'd just stay with the defense there, which is like a Gabriel, a Ryan, even a Saliba, who's been in really great form. So if you're looking for Arsenal assets at the moment right now, I think defensively we are definitely the direction to go into. It's more on the attacking side. So double up on the defense, continue with that. If you want to go triple, I think you really can. You know, when it comes to Arsenal and even Liverpool as well, I think you really can. Is there risk? Absolutely. But with great risk, there's also great rewards, because you only need one fixture to actually get you a haul on defense. So yeah, that's my take there when it comes to the Arsenal assets and the approach. Let's take a look at the Chelsea assets. So I removed Cole Palmer there. I think there's nothing to talk about when it comes to Cole Palmer. Really great asset there. I think Nicholas Jackson is a conversation to be had, because it's really been a Nicholas Jackson versus a Isak, and a lot of people have moved to Isak. I think if you've got Jackson, don't sell. You know, like a lot of people before this game where he scored again, a lot of people did make the move and he scored. And I think that was just testimony to what I was saying is don't remove a player who's got good fixtures, you know. Jackson is definitely the, striker week in, week out, and he's always going to get those opportunities you saw. And Mariska just has that faith in him. So he keeps him on for a while. So he had a stinker of a game in my opinion, but he kept on going, and that's what you need from your striker, you know. So I'm happy to keep Jackson. Whether or not to buy him, if you don't have him and you're looking to buy him or Isak, I would go, if fixture wise, man, after the bad fixture run that Newcastle's gonna have, fine, they have Ipswich now, and they got like 3 tough fixtures, and then after that they got actually a really good row of fixtures. I would go for Isak this week if I was to move on to an asset, and then just keep Isak through those tough fixtures. I just feel like he's a lot more explosive than Jackson is. He's got his injury worries, but but if you've got Jackson, I wouldn't move from Jackson to Isak because of those fixtures. I think Jackson's got great fixtures. He's definitely going to score even in the fixtures that he's got as well. So I'm really happy. On terms of the other assets there, surprising to have Neto there. He was suspended, I believe, but he will be back. I think he is clinching that spot on one of the wings. So you might see that it will be a Neto and maybe a Madueke on the other side. Who's not here, who I have been keeping an eye on, is Jadon Sancho. I think blanked this game week, but I would just say keep an eye on him as well. This is one of the weeks he blanked. Before that, he had been returning for, I think, 2-3 consecutive weeks as well. Neto has also been in impressive, honestly, on the eye test. FPL wise, for me, not necessarily. Enzo, definitely, he's been returning, ticking up really well. I think just the same way that Ahmad had been as well, with assists, a lot of assists as well. He's also on set pieces, of course. So I think he's definitely an enabler you can still move on to if that's really, really what you need. And then, of course, you have Sanchez and Gusto. For me, in terms of the defense for Chelsea, it's a no, absolute no. I feel like there are a lot more cheaper and better assets in defense that you can go for than having to go for a Chelsea asset. Like, leave the fact that they've got good fixtures. Like, just no, guys. I don't care if it's like a minutes thing. Oh, let's just go for Colwell because we know maybe Chelsea would. No, they were really able to contain Brighton, but the issue with them is just like it just takes like one moment of concentration for them to lose, and like boom, they concede, and maybe sometimes they'll concede like twice really quick, one little mistake, and the rest of the defense can't really pull themselves together. And that's what happened with Tottenham. And with this one here, it was just like everybody was up and that one ball through, and yeah. So for me, no, Chelsea in the defense, absolute not. I think stick to the attacking players. Jackson is a yes. Enzo is a yes. Of course, you'll have a Cole Palmer, so I don't think you'll have space for anybody else as well there. So I think if you're looking for an enabler, definitely an Enzo. If you're looking for a striker, Jackson's on the board, but I would move to Isak first, and then you should already have a Cole Palmer. All right, let's look at Fulham. I think interestingly, I'm going to start off with Raul Jimenez. He hasn't necessarily been in form. I think when he got his starting position, he was like scoring on the bounce, I think 4-3 games on the bounce. And then after that, he just had a blank for a while. And then he just recently scored. When was this? Recently scored, not this previous game week, I think the game week before. So I think Raul Jimenez for me. Sorry if the video's frozen a bit. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I think for me, because of his form, I wouldn't necessarily go for him. Got a great fixture being Southampton right now. It's a great entry point, but I think there's a better option in Wood. Even season long term, I would rather just go with Wood there. Despite the fact that Wood doesn't necessarily have the fixtures that they do, I just feel like he's a better striker and gets opportunities. He's also on penalties. I'm not sure if Raul Jimenez is on penalties. Yeah. So that's my verdict there. Fine, Raul Jimenez is cheaper, but I'll pay that extra $1 million, man. I'll pay that extra $1 million for thing. And that's my verdict on Raul Jimenez. I just feel like he's not your lethal striker who's going to get you those returns week in, week out. Even when it comes to an assist, like I'm just like, nah, dog, nah. In terms of assets I would go for here, not only will be, I'll definitely go for a Smith Rowe. He has been benching as well, which is a bit of a concern. But when it comes to attack, I trust in Smith Rowe. That's somebody who I'll definitely go for. Yeah, that for me is the attack. In defense, I'd go for Robinson, 100%. Really, really, really been good as well. Had a good performance even against Liverpool. Leno's definitely not an option as a keeper. I just don't want to overlook him. 5 million, I think you can definitely get somebody else better, or just add another extra 0.5 or 0.6, and you can go for either an Allison or a Raya. But someone to definitely look out for in the defense is Anderson. I think we need to keep an ear out as actually on the press conferences to hear if he's back. But I would tread carefully because he hasn't necessarily really been playing for a while now. So this might be a great game to bring him back in. But I just feel like somebody who can give you a lot more points and as well as solidity and minutes, then I think that's Robinson. And I think as much as Anderson would be at 4.2, I'd rather pay that extra 0.6 just for those attacking returns as well as solidity in minutes as well. So that's my verdict when it comes to Fulham and the best assets to really bring in there. Yeah. Cool. Let's move on to Liverpool. But before we do, I do have to ask you guys to please drop a like and also subscribe if you're really loving the content. I am really trying to push to the road to 500. Really appreciate all of your guys' support and those who continuously to tune in. Really appreciate you guys. Honestly, it really means a lot. Thank you so much. I enjoy what I do, and yeah, I just love it. So thanks, guys. But yeah, let's move on to Liverpool now. So Liverpool, as I mentioned, I took off Salah from the top there. I think there's nothing to talk about. He's the man. But I left Trent Alexander-Arnold there because a lot of us moved on to him, and yeah, only to get a 1-pointer. That sucked. I myself was not the one who did that, but I do have a double defense there in Liverpool, and I feel like just starting there when it comes to Liverpool, I feel like that's definitely the way to go. And that's what I was talking about when I say there's just a lot of great defensive options, cheaper options, and I think one of them is Gomez, who's not on here, but I just have to mention him. That, guys, that is a cheap way into the Liverpool defense. And you guys are like, but Cat, he's going to be out soon. What is soon? What is soon? Because this guy has already played like 3 games. He's going to play another extra 4 games. This run of games. You know, we've got Kanate projected to come back like in January. But when in January? We say in the beginning of January. So that could be game week 20, you know? Could be. But I'm sorry, guys. Like, I think if you've got 4 games for a cheap defender from Liverpool, I'm there, bro. I am there. Get those extra, points. And yeah, man, like, geez. I don't know who else and where else you'd be looking at, because who's got a better defense? Arsenal. So with Arsenal and Liverpool, somebody at 4.95. Come on, guys. That's where you should be. I hear Robinson there. I hear that, but like, I'm over here by Gomez. So then I start to look at like the premiums and like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go for a Virgil van Dijk, or I'm gonna go for a Trent. So yeah, I feel like if you're looking for a defensive asset and you don't necessarily have money, you should have Gomez. That's what you should do. And then you should look at who you're gonna, go for between Virgil van Dijk. I think if you got a Gomez, you can definitely go for a Trent, because Gomez is like a defensive enabler, if you ask me, like when it comes to like a great team with good defensive numbers, and not having to necessarily pay a premium. That's an enabler for me. So moving into a tag. Okay, let's just go on to Trent and Virgil. Kat, what's your answer? Trent versus Virgil. If you're looking for solidity of minutes, I'll go Virgil, and also just playing. I think Virgil does have attacking threat when it comes to the. Sorry, guys. I just need to. Yeah, I think Virgil does have attacking threat, and of course, so does Trent. But the minutes are big, and I always looked at it like this. Would you rather have someone who plays 90 minutes? Yes, I'd rather have someone who plays 90 minutes. And then the other question is, would you rather have the guy who assists or the guy who scores the goal? Yeah, that's obvious. You'd rather have the guy who scores the goal, especially in the defensive position. You score the goal, that's 6 points. That's your clean sheet. There, done, So, for me, that's what it is, And like you'll say, but yeah, but Trent can get 2 assists in a game like he did. Yeah, he can. But how often has he done that, And 0.5, guys, okay, I'm sorry, money's tight, guys, in FPL, eh? Money's tight, eh? So I'd rather have Virgil, the 90s, more attacking threats in terms of scoring a goal. That's just my answer. That's just my answer. That's me. That's my opinion. Attack now. Diogo Jota's back. What do we do, Cat? Tread lightly. Watch him. Just see how he does. I don't think jump on him and think he's gonna start the games full in, full out, because remember, game week 17 is on the 21st. Game week 20, game week 18, 26. Then 3 days later, so. And then another 5 days. So I feel like he's going to have his 30 to 60 minutes. And we all know Jota doesn't need 90 minutes. But then again, still, you still prefer a 90-minute man. I think Kakpo has really been performing really well. In fact, he's very much in form. I think he's only blanked once in the past 4 game weeks. And he hasn't necessarily been playing 90 minutes week in, week out, but he's been scoring and returning as well. So he's somebody who's definitely in form. I mean, 0.1 cheaper in the striking area as well. I think he's somebody as well you can look at if you don't want to go for an Isak or a actual Jackson. He's a differential. Like I said, he's in form. And I feel like for me, form is what really necessarily makes the decider for me, does the decider when I'm looking at things and I go like, who do I pick? I think who's in form, that's who I'd go for. So I would stick to rather going with Kakpo, despite that Jota's back. I wouldn't just straight away jump on Jota right now. And like I said, also besides the minutes, it's also just because like he's just back from injury. Like Jota's not necessarily always out for long spells, but like he's always out, bro. Like, yes, man. Like, he's always out, bro. So it's just like, is that the more reason to hop onto him when he's back? Because he's back only for a little while. Like, guys, I just feel like bring him in maybe on, maybe on the Leicester game. I think he'll definitely start the Leicester game. Yeah, I think he'll definitely start on the Leicester game. He's a good differential at that point. So, yeah, maybe if that's what you want to do, you can definitely do that. But I think he will definitely come back and have some sense of a haul as well and give you some returns. I wouldn't be surprised with that. But I just wouldn't jump on him right now at the moment. So that's my verdict when it comes to Liverpool. Spent a couple of time on them. The interesting guys is Man City, right? Now, Man City is going through this turmoil, which even I cannot explain what the hell is going on with these guys, okay? But nonetheless, it's Man City, they're the champs, and we all know what City is like. The beginning of the season is shitty. Right now, I think it's just shittier than shitty that they've ever had. So the question is, when are they going to turn it around? Because we all believe they will turn it around. And when they do, that's when we want to be there. And I think the fixture of Everton game week 18 and going on is a opportunity for them to turn it around. It's an opportunity. I don't think they will, but if I had to look at, okay, fine, which assets am I definitely going to go for? And Haaland is here because he's a huge discussion as to whether or not we hop onto him in game week 18. Here's my thing. Here's what I'm saying. Currently, right now, as it stands, he might show me something different in game week 17. He might say otherwise. But I was watching Man City, and that game with Man United was poop, was cack, And I didn't see anything from the team to say, hey, these guys are necessary. They're feeding Haaland. Haaland is, we all expected him to do something because he usually does do something against Man United at the Etihad. There's just no way. And for 14.9, I'm still going to round it off at 15 million. You have to be scoring 2 goals for me, bro. You have to be scoring 2 goals for me and grabbing that bonus point. And he's just blanking and blanking and blanking. So 14.9, he's not worth it. Even at game week 14. I feel like if Haaland had a huge return against Aston Villa, right? Say he got a hat-trick. I still wouldn't bring him in, even though it's Everton at home, because Everton defensively is good. I would wait to see what he does against Everton. And if he comes back again, I would look at how both him and the team performed to really tell whether or not, okay, cool, I think the team is back and they're back in helping Haaland to actually get his goals. Because there was a point where Haaland was still getting the opportunities and he just still wasn't putting them away. So as an asset, no, not worth it. KDB and Foden. Foden is just not the man he was last year, who won the PFA Player Award. And it's hard to justify his price, especially because he's not necessarily, returning. That's like almost premium price, man. I was on him. He disappointed for me. He's just that's my verdict when it comes to Foden. I just don't feel like the price is worth it. And he's also not doing anything necessarily. I think his minutes are secure. Honesty, I think with and without KDB there, he's been shown to be playing as well and enough minutes for me. But he's just not doing it. He's not turning it up. KDB has come back, and I feel like for me, he's come back with a bit of a bang. Assist here, assist there, goal here. I think he's just one to definitely watch in this game and maybe even the Everton game. I feel like for Man City assets to move on to, you should do this in game week 19. So I think watch game week 17, watch game week 18 as well to see how they do on the easy fixture, and then move on to them in game week 19. And that's just me to just keep an eye on them as well. And this is in the attacking department, right? This is in the attacking department. In the attacking department, for me, those are the only guys I would actually look at bringing on, those top three. Now, defensive. There's Josko Vardiol, and I think another option is Rico Lewis. Because he's more of an enabler. He's cheap. I think he's 4.6 now. Those for me are the two defensive assets I'm looking to bring on. And I think the question when it comes to both of them is to like, okay, who do you go for? For me, how I look at it is like, okay, cool. Are you going to go for the cheaper asset, the enabler? I would say yes, because I don't want to put that much money in the defense, knowing that this team is not necessarily a defensive sound team. But if I'm going to go for a Guardiola, I'm going for a Guardiola and paying that extra money because I'm not necessarily just looking at the defensive ability, but I'm looking for attacking returns as well. That's that extra money I'm paying for, that attacking returns. I would still lean more to the side of Rico Lewis because I know there's a possibility of those attacking returns, even though Vardiol is way better in getting attacking returns than Rico Lewis is, and even in minutes as well. So I think that's what you're paying for when you look at the two. But I would still lean onto a Rico Lewis because it's cheaper, because the team's not necessarily the best in defense. I think if they were the best in defense, I'll definitely go for a Vardiol because I'll be paying for those clean sheets and I'll be paying for those attacking returns. I just don't want to invest that much money into their defense, so I'd rather pay for a cheaper asset. And those are the only guys I'd look at. I think Bernardo Silva is not the best FPL asset. As much as he's got the minutes, he will have his game like randomly where he comes in and does double digits, but he's definitely not an asset to look at all. Cool. So that's me on Man City. The last guy is Man United. Hey, why is Liverpool here? Sorry about that, guys. I think I just selected them and they were red, but let me bring in Man United for you. There we go. Okay, cool. So Man United, I think let's start with Bruno. Bruno has only blanked twice in the past 5 game weeks. That is ever since there's been a change in manager. So clearly he's been reactivated. And in those 7 game weeks, he's been playing in that midfield role and he's played in the 10 role. And yet he's still returning. I think he's a good buy, a good differential at 8.4 on penalties as well. Might be lucky because in those games he's been getting penalties, but that's FPL, bro. That's what you go for, So I think if you're looking for a differential in the midfield, I'm still here for Bruno. I think he's a great option. I would definitely go for him. That is my verdict. They've got some great fixtures. They've got Bournemouth, they got Wolves. I think they can take on Newcastle at home. And then, of course, they got that one tough game, which is Liverpool in the beginning of the year. But other than that, I think out of 4, I think they've got 3 good fixtures, which they can definitely handle. Ahmad, a great enabler. I have him painfully sat on my bench this game week. I said this before, he'd been ticking along very well, coming in with like 5 points, 6 points. He's just basically been averaging like 5 points, in his games. And again, this has also been since the change of manager. So he's somebody, I have him already. I would say I'll definitely go for him as an enabler. I think the question is now, him, Cat, or Enzo. And I've got Ahmad, but I would actually go for an Enzo because he's on those set pieces. Ahmad also was on set pieces earlier, so he can be. But you'd be like, but Cat, Ahmad is like, he's really in that attacking position, whereas Enzo sort of starts in like not necessarily a 6 role, but more a midfield role, like box to box. Whereas Ahmad, he seems to be now into that number 10 role. So I don't know. I think I'd rather go for Enzo because he's got those, he's got those set pieces as well, those corners, and his team is just attacking. I just trust his team a lot better than Man United. That's just me. But yeah, that's that question. So yeah, if you're looking for an enabler, Ahmad is definitely another guy. Oh nah. What's my name? Better options. Man United has got a high number of clean sheets, probably I think the most or second most in the Premier League. But I'd still rather go for a Raya or an Alisson. Højlund has also been ticking along very well. I think he's a good differential, 6.9. Wouldn't say cheap, but mid-range striker there. Differential. I think it's a brave move if you want to go there. You can. But one thing I've noticed about, Man United and their new formation is that number 9 is there to get goals. I think, put it to you like this. If there was a Gyökeres there, he'd be scoring week in, week out. Week in, week out. That number 9 position is getting opportunities. They're getting goal-scoring chances. And it's about that player. It's on that player. If you're in the right position and if you're clinical, you will get goals. If not, you're not going to get goals. That being said, Højlund seems to be like the favorite pick between him and Xerxes. And that's why I say it's a brave move. It's like, what's your risk appetite? Because I think you've seen Xerxes does start in the Europa League games, but Højlund doesn't necessarily get 90 minutes. So it's like, okay, but you've got 60 to 70 minutes. Let's see what you got. And for me, for a striker as well, who's going to be getting opportunities, that's enough. That's all you got. Don't come out here crying, oh, I don't get 90 minutes. No, that's enough. And if he ain't doing it, you got to go, So I think it's a brave move if you want to go there. Dalot in defense. Is there any other defensive assets that we could be looking at in the back 5 of Man United? Yes, you can look at Mazraoui. I think he's got his opportunities to, definitely add some attacking numbers, but and he's cheap. For me, again, I just wouldn't be going for Man United guys as a team defensively. I just wouldn't. There's only 2 teams I'd be looking at. Okay, Lovey. So, Lovey. Okay, there's Lovey again. All right, sorry about that. I had to get hold of Lovey, as you can see. He wanted to join us, and just to quickly get on to what we were saying. Man United defense, I feel like there's a whole lot of better assets, to be honest. So I feel like if you're looking for a cheaper asset, definitely go for a Gomez. Premiums, you should only be looking at Arsenal and Liverpool. So yeah, that's me. That's me. I think we're done. So yeah. Thanks, Lovey. Do you want to say anything to the folks at all? Do you want to say nothing? No, he's not saying anything. He's looking at the ball. He wants to go get the ball. Guys, thank you. Please hit a like for Lovey. Also, hit a subscribe for Lovey if you're enjoying him. We made a feature. If you want to see Lovey more and he has some more FPL tips from me and Lovey, then you know what to do. Show that love, show that support, and we got some more content for you guys over here and here. Yes, Lovey's looking at the content, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Peace.